If someone is not in the same level as you, let's say, spiritually, and so you feel lonely in the relationship in terms of spirituality, is breakup a necessity? We wouldn't have known his heart if the Bible did not point out that he was a thief. He had the money chest, he was taking care of it, and he was stealing regularly from the money chest. Did Jesus know that he was stealing regularly?
My vision of spirituality, of biblical principles I want to have for my life and my family, and if we don't agree and that's important, like for you it's very important a different way, for me then it's just not, we're going to hurt each other more in the process, and our children and everything, like it's just damaging to force things.
In this case, can spiritual differences make or break a relationship? It's a question. Now, I'm not talking about the other person is not spiritual at all. There is a spiritual difference. So one person has their own journey, the other person has their own journey, but there are spiritual differences. Will it make or break the relationship? Welcome back to another episode on Happily Ever After with
The Raj family.
So today we are going to talk about a very common question people have asked, and we would like to answer it from our personal experiences, and also what would be a good principle to follow it. And that is when one person is growing spiritually and the other isn't. That's the main subject we are going to talk about today. And I have a question for you. How do you handle spiritual loneliness inside a relationship? How do you handle spiritual loneliness inside a relationship?
Okay. If you are in the relationship and you're not married, really pray and ask God to show you if maybe you're dependent on the other person for your own spiritual walk.
Yeah.
So make sure you're not codependent on the other person to feed your spiritual needs.
That's right.
That's one area. Number two, if you realize that there's no spiritual connection in the relationship, even though you are praying, you have your foundation and it's not happening, I would highly say reconsider this relationship. And if needed, walk away. And that's what I did in one of my relationships. So, like, you can talk about it. Like, I would bring up, for me, it's important to envision us having family worships as a family. Now, we're in a relationship. I'm not expecting us to have worships, but is that something we're both, envisioning? And it was not. So I was like, well, maybe, we are just not compatible for this person. Their spiritual connection with God was their priority, and they took time for that, but they did not see the need to connect spiritually with another person. Which was interesting because they had prayer partners, but they couldn't really be prayer partners in the relationship. So there was a blockage spiritually, because what I come to understand, if you're not spiritually mature, it's going to be very hard to connect with another person. And if there's issues in the relationship, spiritual connection also brings vulnerability. So it might be a way of escape not to connect in that area. So that's just something I would say, handle it, prayer, make sure your connection is strong and you're not depending on the other person. But if there are basic spiritual foundations that you're not aligned, reevaluate, and if needed, walk away, because you cannot force the other person to see how you see, but you cannot compromise when you are considering marriage. So it would be a different counsel if you're married. But
but breakup is a big deal. It's not like let's say like buying a shirt or a dress and then returning back, oh, it doesn't fit me or it doesn't look nice. It's not like that. Breakup is a big deal, right? Because it involves two people's hearts, emotions are entangled, and they've already been seeing future together, one day be married and all of that. So if someone is not in the same level as you, let's say, spiritually, and so you feel lonely in the relationship in terms of spirituality, is breakup a necessity? And again, we're talking about relationships, not marriage.
Yeah.
Because it does sound like a very critical thing, maybe a huge thing. Are we doing could it be that it might be just a small thing, but we are enlarging it to make it look like
Well,
we are
again,
overreacting?
if you have your foundation, but you see that there is like not only loneliness, but an emptiness in that area and the other person is not seeing it or interested in that, I would say walk away from that relationship. Because like the book we were saying, Loss of Dating, break up. Like it is hard, but it's harder to marry that person and for the rest of your life realize there is no connection. Spirituality is a huge area. You need to be physically attracted, emotionally connected, and spiritually aligned. Can that change with time? Yes. Would you have to find your foundation and source of spirituality in the Lord? Yes. And even if you feel lonely in that area in your life once you're married, you are not completely alone because you have your own foundation. You're just struggling in that area. So, I mean, yeah. I don't know if you have something else. From my experience, I can say it is a very emptiness. There's a huge vacuum that you cannot force the other person to align with that vision. So for me, that was a non-negotiable. So
but not everyone has the same type of mindset. Not everyone sees it that way. That'll be their non-negotiable.
Right.
But the
So
point is, should we maybe have a little bit of a free space where the person can be okay without being, because what I am noticing is it is your non-negotiable and therefore you don't want to.
I'm saying it from my experience.
But
correct.
what if someone is okay with it and they
that's why you need to have your non-negotiable clear. If you're like, if spiritually they don't really care, I'm okay with that, well, that's yours. But like you're non-negotiable that you can definitely say, I can compromise that. I'm okay if, like the person that said, I want to have my relationship with God, but I don't want to bring it into the relationship. But I would question why you don't want to bring spirituality into the relationship. Like, what is there that is blocking it? But if both people agree with that, that's their core values, and that's up to them. We're not here to say, they should follow. But if you are a Christian and truly desire to follow God's principles, it's something that you should consider. Because even in the book Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts, it shares about marriages that were loving each other, had a great time, they were best friends, but there was a huge part missing, which was spirituality. So we're not talking about marriages. If you're already married, God will give you the strength and wisdom and resources to go through that phase of loneliness. But in a relationship, if you feel alone, not because you're not in the same page, but because the other person spiritually is not really interested in having spirituality in the relationship, definitely that's not for your Christian walk. Definitely not.
Yeah, how I see it is, if someone is feeling lonely in a relationship, that's not even a good relationship to be in, period. And here, this is even specific. My question is even specific. You feel lonely in your relationship, but this is more of a spiritual aspect. And how do you handle it? And I think if I feel like I am growing more spiritually and I'm learning more about God and I'm having more conviction from Him and all of that, my acts will start changing. The way I behave, the way I talk with people, and a lot of things will start changing, which will make it uncomfortable for the other person as well. So I'm just trying to make it sound like people can relate with it, not just principles, but how people can also see it, because we both have the same mindset and all of that. Not everyone has the same type of mindset. Some people might be starting to grow. Some people might be learning just about God. And for them, we cannot say, this is the principle and you need to do it. Or it's up to you, whatever you want to do it. But what are the points that they can see? And I agree with you. Yeah, breakup is a need. It's a must, not a need. It's a must, especially if one person is growing and they want the other person to grow along with them as well, but the other person is not interested. Now, as you are becoming more and more spiritual, your priorities change, your focus has changed, your lifestyle has changed, your patterns are changing, and the other person is still in their own way of living, which is not wrong because they have not seen it, but it cannot gel together. The
Right,
relationship
it's
cannot work
not-
together.
You're not going to be in the same page.
Exactly.
And you're just going to pull in different directions. So it's just practicality
Yeah, yeah.
and health of the relationship.
Yeah.
So-
And I think that also would help for people to know if that is their core value or not. Because at some point it will become their core value if they continue to grow in that spiritual journey. Then they can make a well-informed decision. Okay, this is not something for me. I want to marry this person down the line, but at this point I don't see them as a match for me, especially in the spiritual aspect, which will have an influence in the other aspects of life.
Yeah. No, there's certain things that it's very important. You can choose to accept it or not, but it's going to be a big part of your life. And we definitely, this channel and everything we talk is from a biblical perspective
Yeah.
and a Christian perspective.
Absolutely.
So if that's not where you're at, then definitely there's going to be different values. But is it fair to wait for someone to catch up? Let's say I'm learning new things and I feel I'm in a different path. Should I wait for you to catch up so that we can both be in the same page, or what should it be?
My question is, how long are you willing to wait? Because there is no definite time frame. It's not like a college degree. Okay, 4 years later they will graduate to become a spiritual person, or let's say even few months. No one knows. Only the person that has to catch up knows, or they don't even know. It is up to them if they want to put the effort in or not. So if one person is growing spiritually, it is not fair for them to wait. There are people who wait, and there are people who wait for years for the other person to catch up, so-called. But it's not right. It doesn't help. More than it's not right. It doesn't help, because how long will you wait? Because it's like an indefinite waiting process you will have to go through. And will the person ever be able to catch up with it? Or you are just
And
waiting
what
there?
if you really want to be with this person, so you will try to, catch up or feel stressed to catch up to their journey
Yeah.
or push towards it?
That's right. That's very true, because they won't have a personal conversion or personal experience with Christ. Paul says, work out your own salvation. Everyone has to work out their own salvation. Just because you are becoming more and more spiritual, I cannot be like, oh, let me also become spiritual because she is becoming spiritual. No, it's an individual journey. Though two people walk together, it is still an individual, independent person's journey with Christ. And I think it will be unfair if we say you will have to wait till I catch up to you, or the other way around. So, yeah, the thing is, you don't have to wait for the other person,
So
because
what should you do if you're not waiting?
break up. Break up, because you cannot be waiting. Maybe you can break up, but you both can be open for other relationships. But then by then, let's say a year, 2 years or so, or maybe even a few months later, you find out they are having a spiritual walk themselves. You can reconsider that relationship. But again, if the other person is willing as well, that needs to be taken into consideration. But overall, I would say you'll have to break up.
To give space for
Yes.
genuine growth or
Exactly.
individuality.
Yeah, it helps for both self and the other person, right? For me, I want to break up, not because that's the right thing to do, but I feel like my priorities have changed. They are very different from what it used to be for me. And I want to continue to grow in the spiritual journey. And now I want you also to grow, but I don't want you to grow because of me. I
Right.
want
So
you
it's releasing the pressure basically and respecting each other's journey.
Yes.
So breakup doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's a way to honor each other's vision of life.
Yeah.
If it's not aligning, or if someone feels this is not, what they
That's
are
right.
praying for
That's
or
right.
desiring. So, yeah. And if you're not in a relationship, it's good things to consider. So spirituality, you cannot measure it. There's not like, oh, I'm more spiritual than you. This is my vision of spirituality, of biblical principles I want to have for my life and my family. And if we don't agree, and that's important, like for you it's very important a different way, for me then it's just not, we're going to hurt each other more in the process, and
Yeah.
our children and everything. Like it's just damaging to force things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in this case, can spiritual differences make or break a relationship? It's a question. Now, I'm not talking about the other person is not spiritual at all. There is a spiritual difference. So one person has their own journey, the other person has their own journey, but there are spiritual differences. Will it make or break the relationship?
We have something exciting that we want to share. Maybe you're like, what is the strength in my relationship? How is the quality of my relationship like? How can I gauge or get an idea where I'm at or what things maybe I need to grow?
Or you might not even know how your relationship is growing, and you are trying to figure it out and you don't know how to figure it out. We have a beautiful free resource for you. It is a 3-minute relationship strength quiz. You can find it on our website. It's free for everyone. You can just go put our website. We'll put it here right here. It's called naturalhealingproject.com, and then you just scroll down. You will be able to find, it says relationship strength quiz. It is for anyone that is committed, single, or in relationship. Feel free to go and check it out and do the quiz.
You will get a percentage of the strength of your relationship with the answers you give and some tips, advice, and suggestions to move forward in strengthening even more.
What are your thoughts about it?
I think it depends. What are those differences? For example, if someone doesn't believe, for me, if someone doesn't believe that there's a Holy Spirit or that Jesus is God or things like that, for me, that goes against core foundational beliefs that I have.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be fighting about it. I don't want my children to be confused about it. So there's basic things that we should align. Then if you believe, there's a way to know God's will as you pray, and I see it, it's a different format, that's something that, we can each respect each other's way of knowing God's will. So I think it's a thing you have to analyze, and for each person will be different. So that's why having clarity in your own spiritual journey will give you clarity if this is something that, you can both grow together in different ways or not. So you had your own faith journey. I had my own. It was different. Then in marriage, we kind of had to unite, and I had to grow, and you had to be patient to wait for me to grow. So you cannot give me an experience or make me have your experience.
Absolutely.
So once you get married, it's about praying for each other, encouraging each other, and letting God work. You cannot force or make sure you're both in the same path.
Yeah.
Because it's an individual journey.
Yeah. I love that part where it depends, right? It depends on what the differences are. Some differences we can handle with it. Some differences we cannot handle with it. Like, so one of the differences is, let's say, having evening worship together. One might be for it. The other one is like, I don't see it as an important point. That might be something key issue that we will need to work things out, and it might lead to a very different spiritual journey,
Yeah, but for someone else might be like, oh, it's fine. If we pray together once a day, I feel that's what I envision. And throughout the years, and as you keep learning or growing, things might change. You might desire other things, and you can always talk and see and come to a place where you both feel comfortable.
So, and the other aspect is it can be something smaller as well. Some people like to read their Bible in a year, and some people like to take time and read the Bible, not necessarily within a year, but more chew and digest what they've read. So that difference is not going to be a life-altering thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of links to another part that I wanted for us to talk about. How do you encourage growth without sounding like you're preaching or trying to control someone else?
Yeah. So one of the things, this usually when people are really hyped up in religion, they tend to force people, and preaching happens. Sometimes, let's say stealing. We all know stealing is wrong, but if I see my wife stealing stuff, does she know it is wrong? Absolutely, it is wrong. But do I have to point it out and start preaching, or will I share it with love? I think there is a huge difference there, because I can talk about a lot of things from the Bible why stealing is wrong.
So give a practical example to your illustration. I'm stealing from whatever,
I would definitely pull you aside, and then I would first of all talk. This is again, of course, in relationships. I would talk to you about like, hey, I just saw you do something that is not good. What is going on? And I will try to understand you first. What is in your heart and what made you to do it? And then, is there a need for you that is leading you there, or
Right, right. No, I'm just laughing because, like, are you needing to rob?
no, that's not the point. Is there a need in your family or something that is causing you to do that?
Right, right.
Yeah. And then I'll be able to share with you, the Bible talks about this and it is wrong and all of that.
But if I already know that it's wrong and the Bible talks.
I think it is okay to reiterate it. It is okay to remind that it is wrong, because we also know that if you see someone doing something wrong and you keep quiet, you are actually doing the mistake along with them, because you're quiet, you're not pointing it out, right? So that also is there. But I wouldn't come here, become all judgmental and be like, hey, you just stole something from someone and it is wrong and it is in the 10 Commandments.
So I think it's coming more with the desire to understand what's going on, how do you perceive this? So more with curiosity and trying to understand a deeper, maybe,
yeah,
situation that is going on, or a different value, because some people like are okay with lying. Like they say there's white lies and little lies and whatever lies,
Yeah.
and others is like there needs to be integrity and honesty.
Yeah.
So you might differ and the other person might not even see it as a big deal.
Yeah.
So to understand, how do you view this? For me, this is important. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's
And-
really understanding where the person is coming from, how they perceive, share your perspective, and if the other person is like, oh, okay, let me think about it. Like I never saw it that way, or
Yeah. One of my another favorite examples is when I learned about it, it really blew my mind to know the type of love that Jesus had for all of us, but especially for the disciples when he walked this earth. The Bible points out specifically that Judas Iscariot scolded Mary Magdalene that she wasted her money on the what is it called? The scents, right? Oils.
perfume.
Perfume, yeah, expensive ones. And then he says that you could have sold all of that and used that money to give to the poor, right? And it sounds like a very noble thing, but we wouldn't have known his heart if the Bible did not point out that he was a thief. He had the money chest, he was taking care of it, and he was stealing regularly from the money chest. Did Jesus know that he was stealing regularly? He absolutely did. He absolutely did. But how many times did Jesus call Judas out? He did not even a single time. He said, Judas, you are stealing money from the money chest. So because the main reason Jesus did not point that out is because he was trying to draw Judas closer to him with his love, not pointing it out. Imagine if Jesus would have pointed that out, how the 11 other disciples would have reacted to the whole thing. It would not have gone down without a fight. So Jesus was trying to draw Judas more towards him with his love. And I think that is the type of love we need to have. I'm not saying we are supposed to condone when people do wrong. How do we approach them? We have to point that out. But how do we point that out? Same thing Jesus did with Peter as well. He did not just go and blast him out knowing that Peter was going to deny him 3 times. He pointed it out. But out of love, out of concern, care. Jesus knew he was going to be crucified. He was going to be dead and resurrected. But he did not let Peter get the whole thing. You're going to deny me and this and that. But it was more with love. He said, you will deny me 3 times before the cock crows.
And in a way, to encourage spiritual growth or for someone to come up higher in things that maybe they don't see, it's also by our example. Like if we live a life that it's, with integrity, with honesty, with care, kindness, and it's going to be a best way, instead of saying what to do, showing how to live.
Yeah. So I have another question. What is the difference between pushing and planting seed? This is in this aspect. Are you pushing or planting seed? What's the difference when it comes to the spiritual growth? You are having a spiritual growth and I am not having a spiritual growth. How does it look like?
I think planting seeds is the way we live. We are planting seeds by example. Like, for example, if you're not having your devotional life, but I am, and I'm enjoying it, and I am thriving as a sweet time, and I share with you how that much means to me, instead of saying like, oh, you haven't had your devotion today, or why don't you have your devotion, or if you don't have your devotion, it's like, well, I'm doing it and I'm enjoying it and I'm living my life. That it's planting seeds. The other one would be pushing you to do something.
You never have your devotions. Oh man.
Well, yeah, that's being accusatory, so definitely that's
Yeah.
going to start a fight.
Gonna push, yeah.
So that's pushing and fighting. But pushing, sometimes it's not accusing, but telling someone what to do. So I might not accuse you, you never have, but I might say, you should have your devotion right now, or wake up and have your devotion. So that's pushing. Instead of, I would love to study together, can we study? Or that's not pushing, that's inviting, that's encouraging. So one thing is to encourage, one thing is to share or be an example. That would be planting seeds to me. And pushing would be kind of telling someone what they should do, that maybe they know they have to do, but you are like, hey, do it.
Yeah, I think pushing is going to push them more away from God. Actually, to have a relationship with God, it's going to push them away more, because they feel like they might need to rebel on that aspect. But
It's
planting
gonna be-
seed is going to help them to want to have a connection. They want them to, they will want them to experience that beauty, that time where you are spending, and the other people will want to covet that. They will want to envy. I mean, not they will want to envy, but they will feel like, maybe
Desire.
I need to, desire that. They're like, I need to have that experience as well. Many times when I read Bible, or when I listen to other people's testimony, I'm like, God, I want that type of experience for me as well, And those type of things are the ones that will actually take hold and help in converting the person, than when you try to push them to do stuff. Okay, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you need to have your worship. Come on.
And I think there's a difference when you push. Maybe you're pushing in your own life. It's you're trying to perform and to accomplish a checklist. That is pushy. That is like, okay, I have to.
Yeah.
And at planting seeds, it's more, I want to. It's not I have to, but I want to, and I desire to. So, and even if I don't desire, I want to desire. It's different that I have to. So I have to is more the push, I want to. And instead of focusing in others what they have to, it's more what I want to be. And yeah,
Exactly.
That's it.
And I don't want to have my worship or grow my spiritual life because you're watching me. I want to do it because I see the need of it. I see the need to connect with God every day. I see the need to have peace in my life every day. I need to know what is God's will for me, so that I can go about my Father's work, So, planting seeds are the way to go, but the planting seed is more about action, which speaks louder than words.
And also, it's true that we need to be intentional in anything, like exercising, spending time with God, spending time in our marriage. We cannot just say, well, I want to, but I never make the time. So it does take some determination and some planning and some action. But it should flow from within and not just be a dry formalism.
Absolutely.
So we've come to the end of this part. We've seen that it's very important to grow together spiritually. That will be a core foundation for many things in relationship and in marriage. Without it, I wouldn't even imagine how marriage is, because there's so much about it that is grounded on that spiritual foundation, that Christ is the center. Like it says, a trifold cord is not easily broken.
Amen.
And that is so foundational. But think about it, pray about it, be clear where you want to be, and ask God to lead you as well in this journey. And so we will see you in a next episode.